Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wild Moments brought to you by explore.org. It has been a while. I miss you all. I especially miss Taylor. How's it going, Taylor?
I'm so glad you said that because I was maybe going to cry because it's been so long since we last spoke, since I last saw your face, even though it's often behind a screen. But I'm doing much better now. My week can now only go up, which I'm very excited about. Thank you, Trish.
I'm so
Thank you for
glad.
having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Have you been holding down the fort while I've been away?
Sometimes, but the internet has not been always on my side. So I've abandoned Kelly once or twice, where, yes. Yeah, I'm so excited to write my book, Searching for Signal. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, Taylor, I feel like that little pun has been kept in your back pocket for the right moment.
Yep, my whole life.
Well, talking about searching for signal, if you lose me briefly, that's the reason. I too have been having signal issues in Johannesburg, but I'm back and I'm really excited to be with all of you. I'm still a little bit nasally, but so far on the mend. I wish I could show you all my toe,
Wait, sorry, excuse me. Is this the anatomy show?
but I won't. No, it's where I got bitten by what appears to be a tick. Eventually, first I look at me taking off my shoe as if I'm going to show it to you. No.
What?
No, but I wish I could show it to you. I mean, my doctor was very excited about it because she was like, I've been treating coughs and flus the whole day. Finally, somebody comes with a blackened bite from the Amazon.
Yeah, bet that was the first one. For
Yeah, exactly. No, but welcome everybody, and remember that we're live and interactive. Excuse us for that little catch up, but we know that you're entertained by it. Please do send through some questions and comments. We love to hear from all of you, and some really cool clips this week, right? Like I said, I haven't been here in such a long time, so I've really been missing African wildlife. So I'm hoping to get my fill today. Um, okay, let's go through a couple hellos. Jack DeBoy, you say good morning from Virginia. Good morning. Jean Gale says hello with coffee from Seattle. Very nice. So what do you have, Taylor?
remnants of my chicken noodle bowl. So I've had like a teriyaki and soya sauce drink, essentially. It was delicious.
Yeah, when you're hosting shows, that's not like the most advisable thing, but I
I
mean,
can
I mean,
understand.
we're always one to go against the grain anyway. So just some water for me, everybody. W. Bowdger, you say hello from a rainy Toronto. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that it's been rainy. Has it been cold as well? It has been very cold here. How's it been by you, Taylor?
Yeah, the last 2 days have not been great. The
Yeah.
wind has been a nightmare. And can I tell you why? Sorry again, everybody, I'm going to digress, but I know you love to dive into our personal lives just a little bit. I've been in, I've been delegated the job of being the leaf blower at my parents' house and also the pool scooper and everything. Love swimming pools, can sort them out. People even phone me to come help them fix their pools. I need to start charging. However, this wind is a nightmare. So I'm looking outside at the moment and my job is going to be a disaster. So yeah, that's what it's looking like. So I'm just going to tell my dad, so sorry, your garden is wrecked and it's on you now.
Well, there you go, folks. You learn something about Taylor every single week. Now you know
So
you can call her if you've got any issues with your garden. I must say, Taylor, leaf blowing is one of those things that I really, really hate, and it makes me feel like I'm like a really old man. When
but hate
people
hearing
go,
the sound
like,
or you doing it because you
oh no,
perform the task of that's amazing.
I can imagine that it is, but I'm the type of person that if I hear a leaf blow and it's going on and on and on, I go stand at the window and look, you know, as if that's going to change something. Yeah. Anyway, back to wildlife. Casper's third ghost, you say good morning slash afternoon to me and Taylor, and for everybody. You're ready for elephants and cats. Ooh, very nice. And you've got hot coffee and toast today. Very nice. No snacks, but you all know what Taylor's snacking on. Dear NC says hello, Taylor and Trish. Long time no see. Yes, it has been a while. I have been in the Amazon, which sounds so cool, right? And I suppose it was, but honestly, the more places I go to in the world and meet different people living in different ways and all of that, you realize everyone's the same. It's the same problems, the same solutions, just in a different way. So yeah, it was really, really nice to see how the way in which indigenous tribes live in the Amazon and how similar it is to us. And I had connectivity the whole time because they had a Starlink.
We can't even get it in South Africa. I just said that very quietly.
Nobody heard you.
No one.
Mindy, hi Mindy, you say yay, girl power. Trishala is back and always a pleasure to have Taylor on board. Yes, it is. Bridget McKinney says hi Trishala and Taylor. Hi Bridget. It's so nice to say your names. MG Leopard Spots, you say hi ladies from California. You're looking forward to the animals and your lovely, wonderful commentary. Well, with the way it's going so far, MG Leopard Spots, I'm not sure what our commentary is going to be like. Zygote. You say, this is for you, Taylor.
I need
You
to
might
open the.
contact an alien.
I might contact an alien.
Or you might contact alien. You know what, Zygote? I don't quite understand, but still I'm gonna go with yes.
Yeah, yes,
I'm
absolutely.
definitely going
Do
with
you
yes.
want to give me a contact of an alien? I'm in here.
I mean, maybe that alien has a wind leaf problem too. Pool problem.
I mean, how's that? I'm gonna be head of gardening services for an entirely different planet. On a
Exactly.
different universe. I mean, in a different universe.
And then Zygote says leaf buster like the song Ghostbuster. Zygote knows.
But you
Zygote
go,
has read the
oh,
memo.
Taylor. Sorry.
Karus, you say hi to me and to Taylor, and you have milk again. Of course you do. April Owl says, good morning from a rainy Connecticut. You're late, but you're happy to be here. I think you're right on time. You missed all the fluff from the beginning and me almost showing my toe to the world. What do you say, Taylor? Shall we jump into our first clip and see if we know what we're talking about when it doesn't come to weird life
Yeah,
things?
I think that's a good idea. I'm gonna jump and you're probably gonna hop.
Okay.
So,
Okay, let's get into it. Let's head over to Kruger Shalati and have a look at a bit of a curious incident, see if we can figure out.
I'm trying to figure out how to make it bigger.
Yeah, me too.
It's yours also the same. Have you found it yet? I can't see what's going on.
Taylor, you've got to pin the video. Click on the three dots and then go pin video.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, so what we can see is a dead Nyala and a Jennet having a bit of a go at it.
A little large spotted Janet. Oh my
Those
God.
very
Also,
large spotted, large Jennets? No, they're not.
so this is quite interesting. Did anybody see how the Signala died? Or was it just dead? We just found the dead Inyala. Okay,
So
that's it.
at least it said last week, but maybe some of you could just fill us in. When
Crocodile, Trishala, on the left. No.
How sneaky was that?
How did they leave this out of the caption? Talk about Jeopardy. No ways. This is amazing. I think
Oh, how's this hyena at the back?
this
I
is a
want
question that we actually had last week. Was it last week Thursday with Kelly and I, where a crocodile, it was a whole thing about how far do crocodiles come out of the water to, get prey. Well, here we go.
Yeah. And this is not the first time I've seen this
Hmm.
exhibition. There were other times in this area that we would also see kills like I don't know if you remember the lion one. Lions, can't remember what they had killed, but it was also just at the edge of the river. And the crocodile came way out to have a go.
Yeah. I think Mala Mala has regularly the most spectacular sightings with crocodiles. I think I mentioned it last week as well. They often post videos of crocodiles well away from the water's edge, trying to steal carcasses away from animals. Funny enough, I've seen it regularly with lions, but that is crazy to see. How is that? Jennet first feeding, amazing, omnivores. Then to have the hyenas come through, and then all of a sudden that sneaky reptilian. Hey? So you just never know what to expect. Sorry, I get very excited and I wish I was like sitting there watching it.
Can you imagine if you could just hide in a bush nearby?
I would love that. I would do that so often.
Mindy says that no one could figure out how Daniela died. Bridget says the Janet is digging it. Is it possible for us to just see the first bit of that clip again because me and Taylor were struggling technically?
Also,
I want to
excuse
see if the Janet is having a go at the carcass or is it just playing around?
So I've seen Genets feeding on carcasses before, on things that but it doesn't, maybe it doesn't look like it's feeding it here. It doesn't look open.
I was just about to say, I think the Janet would. It's an opportunist, right? It would if it could, but at the moment it's not open. There's nowhere for it to get in.
It's probably bleak going, surely this is open 24/7. Why is the canteen closed?
Well, it's going for the softest parts, which are the
Oh, there we
best, is the best option, right? There's a little bit of pull. There we go.
That's awesome to see.
And the carcass looks untouched up until this point, right?
It doesn't look like anything specifically. I'm actually just looking on the ground around the carcass to see if I could see like any big disturbance marks. And the only reason I say that because at this time of the year we start to see anthrax popping up, and I've seen it Nyala, kudu, obviously buffalo, and with it being like a little bit dry, like the vegetation has dried out so quickly, I just wanted to see if there was ever any evidence that could potentially point to that.
I mean, it's so hard to tell when you're not there, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely 100%.
Um, Montenegro, you say, wow, everybody eats.
Crocodile.
Yes. Oh, I love the way the crocodile just creeps up from the left. But that's just it. If there's a carcass, and it's not often that you'll get a carcass that's just completely untouched without any evidence of who was the one who made that kill. Um, it's not often that that happens, and when it does happen, it's a freebie. So everyone who can get in will get in.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's a great meal there for a variety of different animals. It's not something we get to see very often either. So many different animals within a close proximity. Well, I don't know if the genet was necessarily at the same time as this, probably much earlier, but still pretty epic. And I can't believe the crocodile didn't make away with the most of it.
Yeah, I mean, oh, there we go, giving it a good go. Well, I would actually imagine, and maybe that's what the crocodile's doing, but I would imagine that it would drag it back
Mm.
to the water to
Yeah,
get.
that's what I would have thought as well. But it's actually just munching away, which is quite interesting.
I just had a thought because when there's a carcass around that belongs to somebody, whether it's a lone lioness who's taken down something, so there's only just think about just a carcass that only has one defender.
Mhm.
But somehow still, that variety of animals don't come along to investigate it. It's as if just the simple act of having something defending the carcass
Hmm.
kind of like a gate around it. And it makes me wonder if I mean, we always talk about the ways in which animals communicate, and maybe there's some sort of communication that we're not aware of that lets the other predators or opportunists know that somebody's in charge of this carcass. Because here there's no gate. That's just how it goes in my head.
No, absolutely. I have seen it often, where carcasses, animals just die and no one can figure out what happened to it. And then sometimes no one goes to it. And it's not that there aren't vultures hanging around or that there's a lack of spotted hyena or jackal or anything in that area. And then often then I'll just see it. It's like the carrion beetles and the flies and the maggots that then really take care of the carcass and no one else touches it. And where I've seen that the most, or is actually up in the northern parts of Kruger called Makuleki. They've actually just recently discovered a different strain of, well, not recently, but last 3 years. So I suppose it's recently a strain of anthrax that is not just prevalent during dry season, but also during wet season. And often when I found anthrax carcasses, and it's very easy to identify an anthrax carcass if you know the signs and once you see one, and nothing will touch it. It's so interesting. But then I've also seen other carcasses that animal definitely died of anthrax and then sort of fed on it too. But also animals just die because. So I don't know if that bull was old or what other underlying conditions that it could have been. But it's not the first time that I've just seen carcasses sit for ages before somebody, if anybody, actually stumbles across them. So I also
Yeah.
wonder about that. But I've asked vets, wildlife vets, and again, they're also just like they're not sure what would put something off because we know a hyena will eat anything. But then sometimes, yeah, those carcasses. So I wonder if Tris Vissop is here. Maybe she's got something to also add to that, our resident veterinarian. But yeah, but I don't know, just it's super interesting. But it's something that I've seen regularly, and I can't explain it.
And there also seems to be a sweet spot when it comes to a dead animal. And it's not because once a carcass sits for long and nobody's opened it up, it sort of goes past the point where anybody is too interested in it. Now we know that leopards can eat some pretty rancid things, but particularly hyenas and vultures, we know that they can survive and go for meat that's several days old. But that doesn't mean that that's their preference. It just means that they have the ability to consume that kind of meat. But once it goes past a certain time, it's as if it just wastes away. Of course, it doesn't waste away because that's when carrion beetles come along and flies and maggots and things are constantly consuming the carcass. And then eventually it will disintegrate and go back into the soil anyway. But it's a really interesting, and I'm sure there must be a chemical signal that is, whether it's the smell of
Mm.
the bacteria, the anthrax bacteria producing something that I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that there is something.
Another quick thing on that was, I think, don't know if you remember me talking about what happened in Botswana last year, where there were just a bunch of dead elephants. I suspect it was probably cyanobacteria poisoning because it was so dry. So you can imagine all the pools of water, they were all so stagnant. They hadn't had rain for a very, very long time. So we saw lots of animals last year dying from cyanobacteria, blue-green algae poisoning, and nothing touched those carcasses either. Not one, not even a vulture. The only thing that was on those carcasses with elephants, and they'd been there for a little while. The guides had said the vultures didn't come. Again, just slowly the deteriorated, and then the insects came through, and then obviously saw lots of birds interacting, like starlings and things like that. Just I think feeding on little bits and pieces that were left, but nothing touched those elephants. So it's so weird. And surely there must be somebody like, I don't know, what do you do? A toxicology report on that animal to determine how it died? And then, but I suppose you have to do that with so many different animals and hope that they all have the same thing to be able to prove that.
Yeah. And
Uh,
then it's also about um what type, because as a body decomposes, it releases certain chemicals, right, that also create different smells at different stages.
yeah.
So, mm, what did you scoop up the air as it's decomposing at certain stages and test it? I mean, it sounds stupid, but you'd have to do that,
Yeah.
and do it at different stages for each one of those animals. I mean, it's a thesis waiting to happen.
Yeah. I suppose that's a very difficult thing to do in an uncontrolled environment, like being out in the bush. But still, it would be amazing if that is the case or if it's just a coincidence.
Yeah,
Or like I said, another
absolutely.
underlying issue.
Lots of wows. Oh my word. And a very cool sighting, absolutely. Jack DeBoer, you say crocodiles have been known to drag their prey into the water. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we expect. That's why we thought it was a bit odd that the crocodile wasn't exactly doing that. Because that makes sense, right? If the crocodile can drag its prey into the water, it means that it can exclusively feed on it. It doesn't have to compete with anything else. Mindy is ahead of us. I should have seen this before, but Mindy asked if there was and if we think anthrax carcasses could give off some kind of chemical. We're hoping so. We suspect so. We hypothesize, but we haven't been able to get anybody to do the study for us.
So I've obviously just Googled because I saw
Yeah.
Mindy's question. And from what I can understand, I don't know, but I need to do some serious diving into this. It says that it doesn't particularly give off a scent. But yeah, it's interesting. But I think that'll be quite a cool thing to research. Sorry, I'm just reading this tops of scientific papers, which doesn't help. But yeah, but that'll be really, I'm actually going to do some research on that. I think that that's very interesting. And I'm going to do the same thing with cyanobacteria, with the blue-green algae poisoning.
Nice. I just wanted to, did you just say the tops of the scientific papers?
Yeah, like when they give the first three sentences, and I'm like, oh, or like they give a bit of the abstract, and then I have to
Oh,
do
yeah,
minutes
yeah.
to like dissect the whole thing, and then also find the ones that are nonsense ones. Um,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
cool.
So
Anyway, we have chatted for 21 minutes. Should we move on to the next? But this was super cool, right? This was just, it was really interesting to think about it. Um, okay. I just saw what Exie wrote in the chat. Let us head over to Encoro and have a look at uh, an unlikely friendship. These are some spotted hyenas having a very nice time. They look like they're having a good old play, don't they, Taylor?
very gentle. And look, that one
Hmm.
on the right has got does it have a floppy ear? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
The top left now. I love it when hyenas get zoomies. It is
Zoomies, yeah.
incredible. Look at them go. It's my
And
favorite thing.
you can see it's the zoomies, because
Yeah.
they do the same dog-like movements with their bodies.
No, absolutely. I think that's also something that when you're starting to learn about animal behavior, it's difficult to differentiate between my brain doesn't want to work, play, and then also the hierarchy. I can't think what's the
Yeah.
word.
I'm not sure, but I'll just point out that there is
Oh.
a wild dog that's decided to get in there and have the zoomies too.
And at night.
Yeah, look at it, look at it.
That is amazing.
Head and front paws down, bum in the air. That's so playful.
This is really cool. I've spoken about this before, but there is a biologist that is writing a new book about interspecies play. And he's looking for examples where you can clearly see, wouldn't this be such a great something like a
Absolutely.
great thing to be able to introduce and to show him as well? This is phenomenal because that's it. There's nothing else that can be. Look how happy the dog is, not worried, tail not up, hackles. There's nothing agitated or stressed about this dog.
Not at all. And I mean, where did you even come from?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, where's your family and why are you awake? But that's again, that's another misconception that I found. You often hear people talking about hyenas, wild dogs are not active at night. When in
Yeah.
fact, I've seen them hunting in the middle of the night. If they don't catch something during the day, they're not going to go, oh, well, that's it. That's all the time we've got. Um, so I wonder if it
Yeah.
was just moving about and went, oh, friends, I've lost mine. They
I
disappeared.
mean, it's the same as us, right? You probably sleeping at night, but if you
Yeah.
get hungry, you're hungry. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna eat something.
Gonna go straight over to the fridge or right to the, next to a
Bedside
pillow.
table.
Yeah, bedside table. I can't, my
Now,
brain doesn't want
this
to.
this is not the first time I've seen this kind of behavior.
Hmm.
Do you remember um Ali? You all would remember Ali as well. She does some of the Wild Moments shows also. I think it was about a year or two ago. Ali had a sighting where there were a bunch of wild dogs, and they were lying down, and she's watching them, and then this hyena's head just pops up because the hyena's just chilling with them
That's awesome.
in their little puddle.
Just like, cool, you guys leave me alone. I'll leave you alone. Maybe it had already been harassed and it just they gave up and got bored. No, but there was a video surfacing social media recently with a similar interaction with a
Yes.
hyena, and it's not from the sighting because that wasn't during the day. So there's another one. Isn't it
And then
funny
the
how
one where they were licking
yes,
each other's mouths.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. How fascinating is that? I mean, the fact that they're licking of each other's mouths, that blew my mind. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And again, I'm not sure this might not be a correlation thing, but I'm seeing more of those kinds of interactions now than I have ever before.
Yeah,
In the last year, this has come up so much. 5 years before that, not even a thought, would not have entered my brain
yeah,
that this
exactly.
you expect this kind of behavior. So I don't know if that's just a matter of more people recording and sharing, or if it's just happening more frequently. Wouldn't be able to tell.
It's so bizarre, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, why do these things all happen at the same time? I'm trying to think of we spoke about something over the last couple of weeks as well. Same thing. Behavior had happened, and all of a sudden, everybody all over was seeing this behavior in different places. And it's like, that's a bit strange to be a coincidence, but maybe it is just is a coincidence.
I don't know. Maybe it's like, you buy a blue car and then suddenly you see blue cars all over the place.
Probably. I mean, they could also be having secret meetings where they just say, right, everybody, we're going to confuse every single person now. We've made it. We're going viral. Hyenas included, and they just have a discussion. They just like, we're going to do everything that the books and people say that we don't do. Right, start now. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a possibility. They're too
But
clever.
first, obviously, they've got to assign somebody to read the books.
This is also true. Maybe they just listen to us on Safari.
Maybe they do. Um, yeah, everyone that was super awesome. Karu, you say you've never seen hyenas and wild dogs play together. Well, keep an eye out. You might see more of that. And MG Leopard Spots, you say you love it. It is amazing. All right, we have 3 minutes left, and we have talked so much. But how about we go over to Hwange Safari Lodge and have a look at a baby elephant who fell into the well. Okay, maybe it's not a well. Maybe it's more.
I panicked. I thought, no, what are we about to watch? Give me a heart attack.
I remembered it started with a W. Just forgot if it was well or waterhole. Sorry, everyone. Baby elephant in a well. Well, I mean, to be honest,
Well,
it probably would fit. Look how careful that adult is, probably mum, trying to say, hey, 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 you're gonna slip in. No, no.
oh, bum first. Oh, a very awkward position. Look at that other adult rushing in.
Oh,
Wow.
you silly sausage. You knew that was gonna happen. Your mum knew that was gonna happen.
And look at all the little aunties there. Or and
Yeah.
a small uncle. Or an older brother. I don't know which one. Small uncle. Tish is trying so hard to not laugh. I wish you could see what I'm seeing. Also, my face is very red because from laughing. But that's incredible. I loved how even the young ones try to get involved. It was pretty spectacular, although they looked like they were getting in a way towards the end. But I love how the even older individual, bigger individual came through and kind of just shoved everyone aside and said, right, let the adults handle this.
Yeah, we've got this.
Incredible.
That baby's tail is up until the end of that clip still absolutely straight.
Shame.
Must have gotten such a shock. At least if it's front on, you can see what's happening. But
No, absolutely.
shame.
Yeah. At least the little elephant didn't go head first and end up underwater because that would have been a serious panic for that little one.
Yeah, definitely. And as usual, the panic helps make sure that the baby gets out of the waterhole because the panic's not always bad. Panic means that your body is single. or one track focused, adrenaline rushing, and means that you can generally get what you need to done, even if it is in a panic state. What do you say, Taylor? We have 1 minute left.
We've
Shall
got
we
to do
go
it.
for the last clip?
Yeah.
Because I really want to see this one. Let's head over to Lentore, everyone, because we're going to see a Gennet do something crazy, in my opinion. I really do love this waterhole, huh? Oh, okay. So that's less of the Gennet doing something crazy and more of that little owl doing something crazy. What was it doing?
Being eaten by the Gennet? I
But
don't
how
know.
did what is it doing on the ground? Sorry, can we please see the
Oh,
beginning of that clip again?
yeah. Was it not maybe drinking water?
Maybe it was. No, it's just
So,
standing there.
so I had a crazy sight. Well, while I was in India, I had a jungle owlet on the ground. And it was just walking around during the day for a little bit, and then eventually it went to drink from a puddle and then had a bath. But for a long time, it was just sort of sitting there like this. And I also thought, what was wrong with it? But maybe it had come down for a drink and it was, I don't know, getting ready and then it was going to fly off. I would like to say that's really cool because that was a lesser spotted genet as well. We don't really see them as often. So very nice to see. We saw two species, both
Very,
species.
very, very nice. A cool little way to end off our wild moments today. Thanks, Taylor. It was nice to spend some time with you.
Always nice. Sorry, everybody, for getting distracted. I can't help myself. The ADD is real.
Yeah, I'm also not a great influence when it comes to that. I'll let Taylor do that stuff and encourage her. But thank you all for being with us and for always helping us and what's the word I'm looking for? Sharing your knowledge with us. It wouldn't be the same with all of you. So thanks for your questions and your comments. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. See you again next time. Bye for now.
Bye.